Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to the Facebook Live of the independent news web portal, the Open View. Today, we will try to analyze the remarks of the Shiv Sena leader, Mr. Sanjay Raut. And these remarks have been published in the PTI news also, which soon we will try to display. In his remarks, Mr. Raut has said to the central government, to the union government, that after all, why it hates Nehru so much. He was basically constrained to say this because of the reason that we know that recently we have celebrated our 75th Independence Day. And on this day, the Ministry of a body, autonomous body known as ICHR, Indian Council for Historical Research. It is an autonomous body under the Ministry of Union Ministry of Education. It has released a poster on this August occasion. It has released a poster in which they have excluded the picture of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Of course, this is very strange. This trigger, compels the Shiv Sena leader, Mr. Sanjay Raut, to remark, to say that after all, why the union government hates so much Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. I will read out this news for your benefit. It is published in the PTI news and our own news web portal, the OpenView, has also promulgated this PTI news along with a link. You can visit the website and you can reach this news. Now you see this. This is the news. Why do you hate Nehru so much? Sanjay Raut asked the center. I will news. This news was published on 5th of September. Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut on Sunday said the exclusion of former Prime Minister, rather the first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru picture from a poster released by a body of the Union Education Ministry to mark the 75th year of India's independence shows the center's narrow mindset and asks the Union government Why it hates Nehru so much? This is what Mr. Sanjay has said in his remark. And he says, and this is true, that this is a narrow mindset. It is difficult for any government in India to exclude Mr. Nehru's picture from any part because he is the person who fought for the independence of this nation. And later he became the first Prime Minister of India who was highly respected personality, not on the earth, but under the earth also. The So it is difficult for any nation, for a government of India to overlook Mr. Nehru and exclude his picture, and particularly when you are marking the 75th year of India's independence. And he has a role, he had a role, he played role in securing independence of India. And his role was much uh, appreciable when he became the Prime Minister of India and laid the foundation ultimately for this modern nation. So how the present government can think of it even? Next, Raut in his weekly column Rockthok in the Sena mouthpiece Samna said the Indian Council of Historical Research ICHR, an autonomous body under the Ministry of Education, has excluded the pictures of Nehru and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad from its poster and alleged that it was an act of political vindictiveness. And, and according to my perception also, or if we go by the prudence of a common man, it is nothing else but a political vindictiveness that we have excluded the pictures of Mr. Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. They were freedom fighters. They played a role to achieve the day which we are celebrating today as 75th Independence Day of India. So it is political vindictiveness, and this political vindictiveness will have adverse impact, venomous impact on the generations, the present generations and the generations to come. So it needs to be avoided by the present dispensation. In next, I will read out those who had no participation in the freedom struggle and creating history are keeping out one of the heroes of the independence struggle. This act done out of political vindictiveness is not good and shows their narrow mindset. It is an insult of each and every freedom fighter, Raut claimed. One can have differences over Nehru's policies after independence, but no one can deny his contribution to the freedom struggle, said the Rajya Sabha member, who is the executive editor of Samana. This is absolutely true. If the policies of the government are not good, then the citizens has got every right to criticize such policies. But the contributions which these people have made in the freedom struggles cannot be overlooked by anyone, howsoever big he is. What has Nehru done to hate him so much? In fact, the institutions he built are now being sold to keep the Indian economy moving, Raut said. He says beautifully, Mr. Raut, that after what Nehru has done, that they are so much in hate, they despise him, what he has done. He further says that the institutions which Mr. Nehru built are now being sold by the present dispensation, the government, because to keep this Indian economy moving, people must understand this. Raut said, while referring to the national monetization pipeline announced recently by the center, and claimed it was due to Nehru's long term vision that the country was saved from economic devastation. He says that national monetization pipeline, which recently have uh, announced by the central government, he claims and say that Mr. Nehru was having a long-term vision. Perhaps he was knowing this, that it might happen in the country sometimes. And this is the vision of Mr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our first loving Prime Minister of India, that today our nation has been saved from the economic devastation because of the vision. Long back, he might have seen that what is happening today. He foresighted that time, and now that vision of Mr. Nehru is saving us from economic devastation. Now, these are the words which you must understand, and the difference Mr. Raut is trying to project to the nation. Raut, whose party shares power with the NCP and Congress in Maharashtra, said Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin recently took a decision not to remove pictures of former state CMs Jayalalitha and E.K. Palaniswamy from school bags which were being distributed free to children in the southern state. If he, Stalin, can show political maturity, why do you hate Nehru so much? You owe an answer to the nation, the Shiv Sena's chief spokesperson said, without naming the BJP. He compared with the chief minister of Tamil Nadu that if he has decided not to remove the pictures of CMs, it means that this person has shown a political maturity, and this political maturity, according to me, is very important to send a positive signal in the society, a positive signal to the nation. If he can show the political maturity, why it can't? So, this is what he wanted to convey. And I tell you that political maturity is very important. We cannot wash everyone in their hate campaign. After all, Mr. Nehru, he has done wonders for this nation. He established the institutions and gave India a chance, a vision to compete with the world, which otherwise was not possible today. Had Mr. Nehru not laid down the foundation, our nation must understand, the young generation must understand. We cannot cause we cannot cause harm this way. This is not the job of the governments. The Modi government's criticism of Congress President Sonia Gandhi and party leaders Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra was understandable. He said, claiming that the center made its hatred public by changing the name of the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award. You cannot destroy the immortal contribution of Nehru and former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in nation building. Those who deny Nehru's contributions will be called villains of history, Raut further said. I appreciate this. When you, for example, if you have changed The name of the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, Rajiv Gandhi was also our one of the most loving Prime Minister of India, and he contributed lot in nation building. He is the person, Rajiv Gandhi, who brought telecom revolution in India. How can we forget? Today we have mobiles in our hands, we have computers, we have internet. This is because of Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, who brought revolution, telecom revolution. How can we forget? This is his contribution, unforgettable contribution to nation building. We can't. And if you change the award from his name to somebody else's name, what it conveys, it only conveys hatred, despise for the former prime minister, late prime minister, nothing else. And it will not send at all a right signal to the nation. We need to avoid. And at the end, he very beautifully said that you cannot destroy the immortal contribution of Mr. Nehru and Indira Gandhi in nation building. And who and those people who will deny the Nehru's contributions, they will be called as villains in the history of India. So, so I picked up this news because I found that the words, whatever has been stated by Mr. Sanjay Raut, the spokesperson, chief spokesperson of Shiv Sena, is absolutely true. And we cannot say this is politically motivated or whatever you may call it. But his words are based on facts, the historical facts. Mr. Nehru has contributed. He built this nation. He laid the foundation of modern India. He established those institutions with his vision, which it was not possible today for any person. And because of the establishment of those institutions, today we, our nation, our country is rated one of the competing nation in the world. We are competing today because of the reason of the infrastructure, the institutions which Mr. Nehru gave to this nation. And this is immortal contribution of Mr. Nehru. Later, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi contributed. He brought telecom revolution in India. Mrs. Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, she contributed a lot to build this nation. So these are the immortal nations contributions which no one, no Indian, the present generation or generations to come can forget. And if you say that if their names are, if we erase their names from the uh, history, then something may happen, good happen, but nothing good can happen. It, it is important that we our generations should know about our forefathers, about the people who laid their lives, who sacrificed their life to achieve freedom for this country. With this news analysis, I will conclude my topic and will come with some new analysis uh, on the topic of public importance. Till then, I will say goodbye. Thank you. And before parting, I will request the viewers, the nation, that look what has been explained here. Apply your minds. Don't be biased because it will not help you. It will destroy you. Thank you.